Hello and welcome to the brand new YouTube show Aim for Zero, the show that will teach you how to waste less and preserve the environment while still managing to be economical. I'm your host, Stephen Hicken, and I promise you I'm only a little bit boring. Today's topic, private transportation. That was a pretty stereotypical intro. So what is private transportation? I'm glad you asked, I assume. Private transportation, in the context of the show, is the privatized movement of individual people by individual people. Examples include driving cars, riding motorcycles, biking, and walking. If you walk places, use a bike, or use another form of renewable transportation, good for you. I love you. If not, I still love you, but I'm disappointed in you. Son, daughter, now go to your room. Anyway, environmentally, private transportation has the ability to be quite clean. According to data promoted by The Guardian analyzing overall CO2 emissions of different forms of transportation, both walking and using an electric scooter under ideal environmental circumstances emit less than half the CO2 of a fully electric train filled with 200% occupancy, meaning that in addition to all seats being filled, all areas to stand are also completely filled. The data also shows that carpooling in an electric car emits less CO2 than an electric train at 200% occupancy. As far as non-electric vehicles go, there are several cars being sold these days that exceed 30 miles per gallon. A fuel-efficient hybrid car like the Ford Fusion Hybrid gets an EPA-rated average of 47 miles per gallon. However, none of this is to say that private transportation is good for the environment. The average new car gets 23 miles per gallon, says the EPA, less than half that of a Ford Fusion Hybrid. Now, the average motorcycle has a better fuel economy than the average car at 35 to 40 mpg, but they also emit more non-CO2 emissions per mile than cars. An LA Times article about motorcycle emissions supports this, saying that in California, on-road motorcycles and scooters make up 3.6% of registered vehicles and 1% of vehicle miles traveled, yet they account for 10% of passenger vehicles' smog-forming emissions in the state. This is in part because many motorcycles lack catalytic converters, which are essential for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, most cars and motorcycles have one huge flaw. They use gasoline, a non-renewable fuel source that releases greenhouse gases when combusted. Economically, private transportation does have its benefits. According to an article by Scientific Alliance, cars and motorcycles are often cheaper than public transportation on a per-trip basis. Biking and walking are essentially free when compared to motorized transportation. Also to its advantage, private transportation usually requires much less infrastructure than public transportation. Driving can be one of the fastest or even one of the only options for transportation, even for longer distances. A trip from Chicago, Illinois to St. Louis, Missouri in the United States takes 5.5 hours. That same trip by car takes about the same time, maybe less, but without the time and hassle of boarding, buying tickets, and other inconveniences. However, the consumer can suffer economically by using private transportation. Unlike public transportation, private transportation typically requires the expensive purchase of a new car or used vehicle. Average new cars purchased for over $30,000. Cars may be up to 4 times more expensive over time. There are alternatives like biking that are cheap but generally inconvenient. Motorcycles remove a lot of the inconvenience of bikes, but they're very dangerous. There is a very interesting infographic on the dangers of motorcycles that I'll leave in the description below, as well as ties to all the other sources used in this video. Consider this. There are reasons to be fuel inefficient. Journalist Mark Tapscott, who has covered automotive products, personalities, and issues since 1985, lists 3 of those reasons to be fuel inefficient in an article he wrote on Examiner.com, and I paraphrase. First reason. Smaller and consequently more fuel-efficient cars aren't necessarily practical for American families with more people in cargo. Second reason. Bigger cars are viewed, possibly accurately, to be safer in car crashes. Bigger and/or more fuel-inefficient cars are able to offer more comfort and/or convenience, respectively, with more room to spare and/or more power-consuming peripherals, again, respectively. So, what are a few of the best ways to waste less and preserve the environment with private transportation while still being economical? Carpool. Public transportation is often overlooked as a green option. According to data from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics and calculations made by a reputable blogger, on average, person miles per gallon by bus are slightly higher than by both car and SUV, and by passenger train, person miles per gallon are doubled compared to by bus. Also, public transportation is even cleaner as vehicles go electric. Electric bus from Proterra, for example, puts out less than half the overall CO2 of a regular diesel bus, in addition to saving $750,000 in fuel costs over a 16-year life cycle. Cheap and possibly convenient way to save money and the planet. With only one person driving the car, the MPG will remain at its base MPG. However, with multiple people in the car, simply multiply the number of people by the base MPG to get the passenger MPG. Go electric in one way or another. Getting an electric car can really help the environment. Going 25 miles in the brand new average car puts out 20 pounds of carbon dioxide, while an electric car like the Chevy Volt, powered by the average U.S. home's electricity, would output only 10 pounds of CO2 on all electric. In California, it would be reduced to about 5 or 6 pounds due to its cleaner electricity. As far as price is concerned, 25 miles in an average new gas car costs a little more than the price of a gallon of gas. In a Chevy Volt, the average U.S. price to go 25 miles per gallon on all electric would be $1.10. In California, even with its slightly more expensive electricity, the price would still be under $1.50. Well, let's say electric cars don't spark your interest. Electric. Get it? Yeah, I'm lame. Because of their upfront cost, Tesla Model S, or they look kind of ugly, Nissan Leaf, or whatever. An electric bike will charge you up. Yeah, I did it again. An electric bike is exactly like a normal bike with the added bonus of being able to use an electric motor on demand or via pedal assist. This electric bike costs between $1 and $2 grand and will often go over 30 miles on a single charge. Not to mention e-bikes are several times, like 10 times, more efficient than an electric car will ever be, because they weigh so much less, making the fuel cost of electricity extremely cheap. They pollute about as much as a rider powered by themselves. Also, you rarely need a license because the majority of them have 500 watt or less motor, keeping the speed at a nice legal maximum of 20 miles per hour. They're amazing, and why don't you have one yet? Also is the option, of course, of getting a hybrid. Just remember that gas, unlike electricity, does not have the possibility to be renewable and emissions-free. Meet the future halfway. Commute to work or school, ride your bike or walk there, or get a ride back or use public transportation on the way back, or vice versa. Alright, that's it for today's episode of Aim for Zero. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with all your friends, leave a comment, and subscribe. Stereotypical outro. Peace.